You guys, I have a serious problem here. Like, this is so much manga. Hello friends, my name is Shayla, and I'm sorry I don't have any makeup on. But as you saw from the first clip before we dug into this, I have a huge pile of manga here. This is my fourth quarter manga haul. We might have to start doing this more often if this buying habit stays the way it is. Granted, a lot of this I was able to get on sale or used. Like, not all of this I paid full price for, like I'm gonna admit that right now. Some of them were gifts, but most of it I bought on sale. A good chunk I bought for like 24-hour Tezuka or Bazaar's 24-hour readathon. Like, I bought them to fulfill certain things and certain challenges, and others I bought just to make myself happy. So let's go ahead and dig right in. Oh, I forgot to even grab another series. Hold up. So I just watched my last quarter haul, and I don't think I talked about this series at all. So I'm gonna haul the whole series. So if this is a duplicate from like my summer one, I'm really sorry. But I know there's volumes in this that I collected recently. So we are talking about one of my latest manga obsessions, and that is Waiting for Spring. So this is a shoujo involving a very shy girl who ends up befriending the four gorgeous boys from the basketball team, and shenanigans begin to ensue. We've got Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, Volume 8, and Volume 9. That is a series I've madly become in love with. I still need to read Volume 9. It just showed up in the mail today, but I've read the other 8. During Bazaar's 24-hour readathon, I read Volume 7 and 8, and I totally fangirled about it, so I will leave that linked for you, so you guys can just check that out. Another series I fangirl about quite a bit in that vlog is My Little Monster. I picked up the first couple for 24-hour Tezuka that happened in November, but I've continued to collect the series, and I am current on what I own. So we've got Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. This is an older series. There's definitely an anime to go with it. It's a really fun, good time, and anybody I know that's read it has loved it, and that's part of what led me to getting it in my collection. So these next three are just the next ones in a series that I'd been waiting to release, and they came out during this quarter. So we have Volume 5 of Frau Faust, which does conclude the series. I do have a review, or at least reasons to read it kind of video. So again, I will leave that linked for you to check out. I picked up Volume 5 of Celia Rune, The Girl from the Other Side. I'm continuing to love it. The story arc is expanding so nicely for me. I'm so excited for the next volume to come out soon. And then, of course, we have Volume 8 of Dream and Sun. You guys know my obsession with this series. It's been one of my new favorites this year. I know there's only a few volumes left. I'm not sure if I like the direction it's going. I'm okay with it, but it's not like my ideal situation, so we'll see what happens. This one is also one that I continued collecting on this quarter, and that is Volume 8 of Overlord. This one was a little chunkier than the previous volumes, which I really liked. So I hope they continue to print them a little bit thicker for me. Yeah, so I am continuing to love Overlord, and I will continue to purchase the volumes of manga as it goes. Next up is one that's a new series that I'm starting, and that is Eden Zero. This is by Hiro Mashima. This is Volume 1. This is what Hiro Mashima has been working on since he finished Fairy Tail. Volume 2 comes out, I believe, in February. So I am looking forward to continuing to collect this. As you can see, we have a happy cat here. And in this, there are cameos from Fairy Tail characters, so there's little Easter eggs that way if you're familiar with Fairy Tail. But anyways, this is a more space-based kind of story where we're dealing with two kids going on an adventure with a blue cat. It's fun. I promise you guys will like it if you like Fairy Tail at all. Another series that I ended up picking up for 24-hour Tezuka was Real Account. This is one where we're dealing with a social media app where the creators somehow kidnap like a certain number of their members, and they tend to have lots of followings, and the goal is to not lose all your subscribers or you die. But anybody who's subscribed to you, if you fail one of the challenges not involving the subscribers, they die as well. So it's really interesting. It's a constant cat and mouse game, so it's really interesting. So I've got Volume 1 and Volume 2. I just read Volume 2 like this week, and it was a trip. Like, that series is just going to continue to be a trip for me. Another one-shot that came out, well, it's not really a one-shot. The next volume in a series that I'm loving that came out this quarter was Volume 7 of The Water Dragon's Bride, and I know that next week we're getting Volume 8, so you'll see that in the next haul, but I love this series so much, And I know we only have a few more volumes of this, so I'm sad it's coming to its close, but I'm still excited to get there because the journey that is The Water Dragon's Bride is amazing. All right, another series that I started collecting thanks to 24-Hour Tezuka was LDK. This is a shoujo manga where two teenagers were living next door to each other. Due to circumstances, the wall between their apartments ends up collapsing, and so they're basically living together at this point. So it's really interesting. I really enjoy it. I really like our characters, and so I've got Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. This continues to invite all sorts of shenanigans into it because they're trying to keep it a secret that they're living together because that can get them in trouble at school. Like, it's just a good fun time. A good fun time for sure. Oh lordy, these are heavy. So this next set is a completed series, which I have now read them all. And I read the first one during 24-Hour Tezuka. So let's just get on with it. That is the bad boy that is Neon Genesis Evangelion. I have volumes 1 through 15 in these omnibuses. So we've got volumes 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 and 14. So yeah, there's only 14 volumes. Sorry, I misspoke. 14, not 15. But yes, this series is amazing. It's an emotional ride. Like, I could talk about it forever. Once I complete the manga and the movies, I'm going to do a whole discussion on the whole thing, because this is one of those instances where the manga came after the anime, and I know that there are changes in it already, so I will definitely be talking about both of those. Next up, I continued collecting Hatsuharu. So they've had 3 release. I think they basically have been doing 1 a month, kind of, or close to 1 a month. So we ended up with 3 in this last quarter. So we've got Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. So in this series, we follow a teenage boy who's always kind of been a playboy. But due to circumstances, he ends up decked by this girl and ends up wanting to pursue her because he's not used to somebody who would stand up to him, and he finds her very attractive for that reason. So this is a really fun series. Though Volume 4, like, put me in a bad mood because I don't like what the author's doing to my boy, but I know it's necessary at this point to kind of wake up the girl. But anyways, it's definitely shoujo, definitely fun. I'm thinking about doing like a shoujo manga based like readathon or something because I just want an excuse to read all the shoujo. I'm horrible like that, guys. Oh, it's bad. Okay, another series that I started adding to my collection that I'm absolutely in love with is Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts. This is a fun series. It feels a lot like Water Dragon's Bride and Ancient Magus Bride, where you're dealing with a girl who is essentially raised to be the sacrifice to the King of Beasts here. And due to circumstances, she ends up the bride of the King of Beasts instead of his sacrifice. And it's amazing. I absolutely love and adore it. Like, definitely check out this series. It's amazing. Because 1, the art is beautiful, and 2, the story is just so good. So we've got Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. Seriously, guys, this is a series. I don't know why people are sleeping on this series. It's amazing. Then again, if you like that trope of kind of like a girl coming into this, you know, creature's kind of existence and helping them become their best selves, like, that's definitely what this is. And I am here for it. Next up, I have the next 4 volumes of Assassination Classroom. So we've got Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, and Volume 8. You guys have heard me talk about this quite a bit on my channel, so I don't feel like I need to truly recap. But essentially, we have a classroom full of students who have a reward waiting for them if they assassinate their alien teacher. And it's so good. It's so much more than what it seems on the surface. Definitely check this one out. Here's another series I thought at least the first volume should have been in the last quarter, but for some reason it wasn't. So I'm just going to do all 3 of them right here. So we've got Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. I have Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. We just got a notification that Volume 4 is coming out in September of 2019. So I have to wait forever, but I recently watched the anime for this one, so there will be an anime to manga comparison coming up soon. So look forward to that. Essentially, we're dealing with 2 grown adults who are otaku. So we've got a yaoi otaku, so someone who likes the boys love manga and anime and such. And then we have a gaming otaku who knew each other when they were children, lost contact. They meet up together again when our female character here accepts a new job, and they end up working in the same workplace. And they decide to try dating each other because dating people who are non-otaku has always been difficult for them because they feel like they can't be themselves. So here we are with these people and the friends that they make along the way, and it's glorious. I love it. Definitely check out Wotakoi. I can see how some people would not enjoy this very much, but it really speaks to me in a lot of ways. There are parts of this that are definitely my husband and I, but probably not to the extreme that it's depicted here, but it's really good. It's really fun. I do highly recommend this lovely Josei series. Next up, I picked up the next omnibus for Rurouni Kenshin. So this is 16 through 18. I have read this. I still need to pick up, there's 3 more omnibuses to pick up, and I need to pick them up, and I want to pick them up because I love what's going on in the story, and I just need to know what happens to my baby boy Kenshin. Because Kenshin is a cinnamon roll, and I love him. As I talked about in the last haul, Volume 6 of Wake Up Sleeping Beauty was on its way to me when I did the last haul, and I just have to show it off because this cover is glorious. I have a review talking about the entire series, so I will definitely leave that linked for you. This was one of my favorite series this year. Definitely read this one. It's sweet, it's fun. Oh, I just love it. Next up, I have the first 2 volumes, which are the only 2 out in English right now, of Shortcake Cake. This is another shoujo series where we're dealing with a girl who was living 2 hours away from her school, who has a friend who lives in a dorm nearby, and her friend convinces her to move into this dorm, and it's her friend, and a bunch of gorgeous guys, of course. So shenanigans ensue. So I've got Volume 1 and Volume 2. There are several potential romantic pairings for our main girl. I have my favorite picked out at this point, so we'll see what ends up happening, but I do really enjoy the series. I think it's a lot of fun. If you like shoujo, you'll definitely like it. Next up, I continued to collect Takane and Hana, so I've got Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. So far, the relationship between these two, since there is that 10-year age gap where he's an adult and she's still a high schooler, they've been really good to keep things pretty innocent at this point. Mostly they just kind of like go out to dinner and they're more friends than a romantic relationship at this point. The potential for a romantic relationship is definitely there, but the author's been really good to like make sure the lines aren't really blurred. Like it's still very innocent. If they have kissed at all, it's only been once, but I don't think they have. I don't remember. It's been a minute since I've had to think about the whole series. But this is a fun series. I'm really enjoying it. I hope they end up together by the end of this, but the journey is definitely fun. Next up, I have a backlist title that I tracked down thanks to thrift books, and that is Phantom Dream. I originally saw April over April Sarah read this series, and that's what got me to read the series. Yes, these covers are this old. I would love it if we got a republish. These are old. I believe it's Tokyo Pop. Yeah, Tokyo Pop volumes. I'm not even sure if this is still currently in print, but I found it on thrift books. They're all used. So I've got Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. That series was seriously a trip. I really enjoyed it. I read it for Bazaar's 24-hour readathon, so again, that will be linked for you to check out so that you can kind of get more of my thoughts there. Next up, we actually have a light novel. I wouldn't normally put this here. I would normally put it with my books, but because of what it is, I feel like people will appreciate it here. And it's The Golden Yarn from the World of the Ancient Magus Bride. This is essentially a short story collection of characters from this world that are not our main 2. So, like, the first story I've already read, and it involves the centaur who's the delivery man. It's a little, like, Christmas story about him. Like, it was so good. I'm really excited to see how the rest of these stories go. And for those of you who have read it, there's a story about these 2. That's the next one I'm going to read. Alrighty, next up we have another backlist title that again I found through thrift books. I really like going to thrift books for backlist titles or ones that are a lot older just because it's harder to find. So I completed Absolute Boyfriend. Originally I picked up the first volume for 24-hour Tezuka, ended up falling in love with it, and ended up picking up the whole series in total for like 20 bucks, I think. So I've got Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. In Absolute Boyfriend, we're basically dealing with a girl who has always been searching for love, hasn't had good luck in that situation, and ends up kind of swindled into getting this $1 million robot boyfriend. and shenanigans ensue from there. It's so fun. It's definitely an older title, but yeah, it's shoujo greatness. I had a good time with it, so I suggest people pick it up. Another series that I started collecting thanks to 24-Hour Tezuka is To Your Eternity. I have read the first 3 volumes. I recently picked up volumes 4 and 5, so I have not read them yet, but I hope to read them soon. So we've definitely got volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, and volume 5. This series tears out my heart. It is so good. Like, if you've been sleeping on To Your Eternity, go pick it up. Essentially, you have this orb. We're still unsure of the origins after the 3rd volume of this orb, but essentially what it does is it morphs into things. It's about it learning how to maneuver in our world, the people it comes across, and it's just phenomenal and amazing. The first 2 volumes made me cry. Volume 3 almost made me cry. It's definitely an emotional roller coaster. So if you do not like emotional manga, do not pick this one up. But I love this particular one. It rips me up one side and down the other, and I'm just here for it. I am all for a good story, and the story in To Your Eternity is amazing. Next up, we have the first volume of Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight. This is one that I read for 24-Hour Tezuka. I really enjoyed this one. It is about this girl in high school who has these dreams of a fairy tale romance. In enters this like TV/movie star, and she thinks she could have her fairy tale romance with him, but he's kind of weird and quirky and has his own weird fetish kind of things. And so she's like, could this be my fairy tale, or is this dude just weird? I'm excited to continue on in this series. The guy's fetish really is weird. Like, I'm not gonna deny that, but it's still a fun time. So at least pick up the first volume and see how you feel about it. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, and it's definitely not my favorite first volume I've ever read. I definitely recommend giving it a try at least. So if you're worried, maybe check it out from your library, borrow it from a friend if they have it, something like that. Man, 24-Hour Tezuka really expanded my collection a lot, because this is another one that I started during 24-Hour Tezuka, and that is, again, this is about a high school boy who on the day of graduation realizes that he kind of like wasted his high school experience. An accident happens and he wakes up the next day and it's the first day of high school. So he basically gets high school redo. And so he gets involved in the Odan, which is like a cheering squad that's not the cheerleading squad in Japan. It involves drums and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. So I've got volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. Seriously, like, I'm learning a lot about Japanese culture from this particular one, but it's definitely still about people, and those are my favorite kind of stories. Next up here we have Clockwork Planet, another series brought to you from 24-Hour Tezuka. Thank you, Laura and Jen, for pushing me out of my comfort zone a little bit to try some new stuff. So in Clockwork Planet, we're following a teenage boy who was minding his own business at home when all of a sudden a crate drops into his apartment, and inside it is this beautiful automated robot. He has a talent where he can hear what's wrong with anything mechanical in their world, because essentially, like, the world, like Earth itself, has basically turned into like this giant working machine rather than an actual biological planet. Anyways, he ends up repairing this beautiful robot, and the story continues from there. So definitely check this one out. It's a good time. So there's volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. It's a good time so far. There's definitely kind of almost a heist element to this as well. Like, it's a good time, guys. Like, seriously, go pick it up. Alrighty, everything I have left now, I have not read. These are all ones that I picked up because I'm excited to start them in 2019. So let's go ahead and dig right into these titles. Oh yeah, and I have not read volume 3 of Clockwork Planet, but I plan on reading it like in the next day or two. Alright, so let's go ahead and dig right into these. So most of these are just like the first volume or two in the series, because I didn't want to go too crazy because I wasn't sure I'd like them. So these are new ones for me to try. So let's go ahead and dig in. So the first one we have here is Horimiya Volume 1. This is one that a lot of people here on BookTube talk about. At least the first part of the series they've ended up really loving. So I wanted to give this one a try. So I picked this up. It actually just showed up in the mail today. So I am excited to dig into this. I think it's like snapshots of a bunch of different like couplings. So if you like to ship things, this is a great one. At least that's what I keep hearing. So I'll let you know once I read it. Next up, we have Volume 1 of Tokyo Terroreva Girls. I ended up picking up Volume 1 with a gift certificate that I got, or an Amazon gift card that I got for Christmas. This is the same mangaka that does Princess Jellyfish, which was one of my favorites this year. I ended up, like, really excited to pick this up. Like, it's on my radar for sure. This is about a bunch of 30-year-old women just kind of learning how to navigate life. And so I'm really excited to do this because I am in my 30s. So I think I'm really going to like and relate to a lot of this. Next up, we have Volume 1 of My Love Story. My Love Story is one of the most adorable mangas or animes I've ever watched. So I also want to read and support the mangaka. When Barnes & Noble was doing its buy two, get the third free sale on all their titles, I picked up Volume 1 just to make sure that 1, I support the mangaka, and 2, I think I want to slowly add it to my collection. This next one is also a popular series, especially with readers here on BookTube, and I am late to the party on this one, and I know that because the series is complete now, I think, or maybe there's one more to come out, but that is Astra Lost in Space. This is a space-centered manga in which kids are headed to a training camp and somehow get transported into deep space, and things go from there. So I'm really interested to see what happens to these kids. I've heard it's really good, so I'm really quite excited. This next one, it's an older title, but my little brother loves me, and he bought me 3 volumes of it for Christmas. Scott, you're the man. I love you. And, well, he's not little. He's 30. He is taller than me. I shouldn't call him my little brother. My younger brother. There, we'll do that. And it's Your Lie in April. A lot of mangakas say this is one of the most beautiful mangas they've ever, like, looked at. So I have to own it. It has to be part of my collection because I love the story as well. So we've got Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. I know what I'm getting into with this. I know I'm going to cry my eyes out, but I don't even care. Thank you to my amazing brother who read my mind and got Your Lie in April for me. Next up, we have a title that I'm so excited we're finally getting a manga published for, and that is Ao Haru Ride. The first 2 volumes have come out so far, so I picked up both of them. This is seriously a beautiful manga. Like, it is just, it's stunning. I'm so excited to dig into this and read it finally. I loved the anime, so I'm so glad we're finally getting the manga in English. I'm here for it. The next one here is a bigger volume, and that is Moteki, or Motekai, I'm not sure how you say it, and Love Strikes. And this is about a 30-year-old man who's not really been lucky in love ever, and all of a sudden, all of these girls from his past come out of the woodwork, and he has all these different potential romantic connections to make with these girls. And I know there's at least one more big omnibus like this coming out, that's out. I'm not sure if there's any more in the series, and this is definitely a josei series, so it's geared towards an older audience. So I'm really excited to dig into this and see what happens. I think it's going to be a good time. Okay, guys, 5 more. We're almost there. I know we're like almost a half an hour here. But we've got Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle. We're dealing with a kidnapped princess who is bored. And I think it's just going to be full of shenanigans, and I think it's just going to be a good time. It's a princess and demons, and that's an aesthetic that I just really enjoy in life for whatever reason. Don't ask me. I don't know. I just think it's going to be fun. So here we go. Next up, we have The Demon Prince of Momochi House Volume 1. This gives me all sorts of Kami-sama Kiss vibes. Essentially, this girl inherits this shrine. She shows up, and she's already got squatters in it, and this demon prince who's already trying to take over, like, her spot and her job in it. So I think it's going to be a good time. I'm excited. Yes, I like my kitsune style manga. I think they're great. Next up, we have a complete series that's just nice and short, and that is Napping Princess. So essentially, we're dealing with this girl who kind of travels back and forth between worlds in her dreams and the real world. But when things start to kind of blend together, shenanigans ensue, and that's what these 2 volumes are about. So I've got Volume 1 and Volume 2. I do wish they would have just published it as a one-shot, as it's not that long of a series, but either way, I'm excited. All right, the last thing in this giant, ginormous haul here is Silver Spoon by Hiromu Arakawa. I don't remember. This mangaka did something else really famous. I want to say it's a silent voice. I don't remember. Don't quote me on it. But I know I've read something from this mangaka before. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But essentially we're dealing with a boy, a rich, spoiled boy, who signs up for an agricultural high school, and shenanigans will ensue from what I can gather. I've heard from my friends who have read this that this is really good, so I am really excited to be picking it up. Okay guys, that is the massive amount of manga that I bought in the last quarter. I went a little crazy. I'm going to try to rein it in 2019. I'm going to try to not buy everything all at once like I did this last quarter. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this incredibly long haul. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments down below. You're a champ if you did. If you're new here, hi, I'm Shay. Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I would love it if you would subscribe and click the little bell icon so you know when to come hang out with me. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.